Good day folks, Sean here from Air Photography. In today's video, we're taking a look at Insta360's latest camera. This is the Insta360 One RS, the Dual 1-inch 360 edition. And this is a massive upgrade when it comes to 360 cameras. Now, if this is a camera that you might perhaps be interested in, there's two different ways you can purchase it. You can purchase it as a complete kit that comes with the 360 module, the battery, the core, and the casing. Or if you already own the core, the RS core, or even the R core, you can buy just the module itself. And that comes with the 360 camera attachment, the vertical battery which is needed, and this handle that kind of holds it all together. Doing it that way will save you a little bit of money. Now, the big upgrade of going to a camera like this is that it has dual 1-inch sensors. So that is a massive upgrade compared to what we normally get with 360 cameras. On top of that, it now records at 6K instead of 5.7K, and it can take photos at 21 megapixels compared to 18 megapixels. On top of that, the bitrate is a little bit higher. It's 120 megabits compared to 100 of the standard 360 mod. Now, even though we do have higher resolution, when you export them, it's still only going to export at 1080, but it's going to be a much better quality. Now, the reason why this camera is an important upgrade for those who like to capture in 360 is that dual 1-inch sensor setup is going to allow you to capture some pretty incredible content in complex lighting environments. You're going to have a lot less noise and the image is just going to look a lot better. In most scenarios, most people are going to be filming in lighting environments such as sunrise, sunset, twilight. Perhaps you're filming in a forest under a tree canopy. The lighting conditions are not that great, or just even on an overcast, dull day. Those larger sensors are going to make for better image quality and a lot less noise in the final output. Now, this isn't so much a review of the camera. I've only had it for a few days. We can call this more of a first impressions video, but so far my first impressions have been quite good. But let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at here and how it works. First off, we have this new module. As you can see there, it's mounted on top of this handle-like device. And we can remove it by pressing those two buttons on the side, just like that there. And you can see here, if we do a side-by-side comparison to the standard 360 mod that comes with the Insta360 One RS, you can see there is quite a size difference, both with the sensors obviously, but just the lens itself. But other than that, the way they work and the way they attach to the core is very similar. You can see here, if we take the handle apart even further, it's just a standard core that's installed in there. Now, to remove it, we do need to open up that side door there. And then as you can see, you can just slide it right out. This part here is basically just a shell that holds it all together. And then if we take the rest apart, you can see here, we just have a standard One RS core. And as mentioned, if you have the 1R core, it will work with this as well. You just will have to make sure you have the latest firmware running on it. And what's really nice about this modular system is that as they release new products, you don't have to go out and buy everything all over again. As we've seen when they introduced the RS, you only needed to go out and buy the components that were of interest to you. So theoretically, if you purchase this kit, the complete kit, it will come with a core and a vertical battery. You could theoretically just buy the 4K mod or just the standard 1-inch mod and use it with this core. So let's go ahead here. We're going to put it back together. As you can see, we just attach the core to the battery base. And then we're going to slide that down inside the handle. And then we just attach the 360 1-inch mod. Just like that until it clicks into place. So if we take a look around the unit here, we have a power button there at the top. We have our record button. At the bottom, we just have a standard 1/4-20 mount for attaching to tripods, extension poles, whatever you need there. And at the side here, we have a USB-C door, and that's how we charge it, or we can plug it into a computer to transfer content. Now, I should have shown you there when I had it apart, but in order to put the memory in, the memory is actually in the core. So you do have to take the camera apart if you need to replace your memory card. Now, as mentioned, I've only had it for a few days, but I have been able to get out and do some recording with it. And generally, I've been quite pleased. It has really nice natural color, and the quality of the image that it outputs is really nice. Even in this clip here, I'm under a pretty heavy tree canopy, so it's fairly dark down on the ground, and as you can see, there's very little noise. Everything just still looks really good. Again, that's due to that dual 1-inch sensor setup. So if you're going to be filming in different lighting environments, sometimes you're going to have very little light to work with. You're still going to end up with some really nice quality video and photos. Now, this camera is fully compatible with the Insta360 app, so you can go in and use all their editing tools. Of course, if you prefer, you can edit on a desktop with the Insta360 Studio. And of course, you can use this camera with all the shot labs that Insta360 has, including their new sky swap. Here's another little clip of me, and this time I used the shot lab to swap out the sky. So you can really do some interesting things with it. Now, the way that I use 360 cameras, I'm not capturing 360-degree content to share as 360-degree spherical content. I like to be able to go home later, do some editing, reframe my shots, and pick out the angles and aspect ratios later on. And that's kind of the really nice thing about filming in 360. Because it gets everything all around you, you can go home later, frame your shot. You can then export it as a traditional flat video. You can set your aspect ratio, whether you want it a widescreen video or even a vertical video. That all can be done later. And the editing process is quite easy. Insta360 has a lot of great tools, whether you want to edit on something like a phone or a tablet, or even on a laptop or desktop. They have Insta360 Studio, which is really good as well. And when it comes to its desktop studio or the app for a tablet or smartphone, it's actually really easy to use and pick up. You don't have to spend a lot of time learning how to use it. Now in this demonstration, I'm going to be editing on a tablet here. This is the iPad Pro. And there's actually two different ways in which you can edit. You can bring the content over to your tablet first, or you can actually leave it right on the camera and you can do all your editing there. So if you have limited space on your tablet, you don't have to worry about using it up, bringing all the footage over. So the first thing we can do here is we can trim it down. This is a 2-minute clip approximately. But say there's only a small section of that you want to export. We can bring the front in, and then we can bring the rear in as well and trim it to whatever length you need it. So right now, as you can see, it's in a portrait format. It's 9:16, but we can switch that to a more traditional 16:9. You would maybe want to export it as a portrait style video if you're going to be uploading it to something like TikTok, perhaps YouTube Shorts. But for everyday video, of course, you're going to want to switch that over, and we can do so quite easily just by pressing that button there, and it gives us some options. We can do a 9:16, 16:9, 1:1 square, or you can even set it to widescreen. So let's go ahead and we'll put it to 16:9. There we go there. And then the next thing you want to do is set your framing how you want it. We can use pinch gestures to kind of set our field of view. Do we want it a more zoomed in look, or do we want it zoomed out? Then we're just going to add a keyframe there. And that keyframe we just added is basically going to hold that camera position. It's going to keep it in that position until we set a new keyframe. Once we do have a keyframe set, if we want a more traditional field of view look, we can click on field of view there, and we can set it to ultra wide, wide, linear, narrow, tiny planet. And again, that's the nice thing about filming in 360 is all these decisions can be made later. You're not committed. Unlike a GoPro, once you film in something like linear, you're committed to that. You can't, during your editing process, think, wow, that would have been a little bit better as a wide field of view. With a 360 camera, you can do that later. So then we can just go through our video and say at this point we want to zoom in a little bit. We'll just add another keyframe. That first section there is going to keep that same field of view, but now we can zoom in, reframe things a little bit. We'll add another keyframe there. Then we'll add another keyframe here because maybe we want the camera to spin out in front of us. So let's go ahead and we'll play that back here. So you can see there, we've got the zoomed out look. And when it gets to this keyframe here, it should zoom in a little bit. And there we go there. And then when we get over to this keyframe is where we have the camera set to spin around and face the other direction. And there it goes there. So yeah, there's a lot you can do with 360 cameras. You can get some really unique perspectives, and just the fact that if you're filming B-roll for a video, you can just set your camera and start recording, and there's all these different angles that you can get just from one video. Now, as mentioned, this is more of a first impression style video, so I'm not going to dive too deep into all the features, but there is actually quite a bit you can do with these cameras. If we bring up our menu here, you can see we have photo mode, we have HDR photo mode, we have interval shooting, star lapse, so if you want to do an overnight night lapse, burst, loop recording, time shift, which is basically hyperlapses, and we have regular time lapse. So definitely, if this is a camera you're interested in, make sure you stick around, subscribe if you're not already, as I will be diving in a little bit deeper to some of the other features. We're going to test out the hyperlapse features, the star lapse features, just see what we can get out of this new 1-inch sensor. Now, when it comes to audio, the built-in audio is not the best. It's kind of like when it comes to any action camera. It's decent, it is usable, but if you do want really good audio, you're still going to get better audio by connecting a third-party microphone. And they actually do sell an audio adapter that does plug into it, so you can connect your own microphone. And what they've done here is they have this bracket you can get, and it connects to the bottom. And what this does, it allows you to connect a Rode Wireless Go, but it does it in a way that it's still in the stitch line, so you can have nice wireless audio without it being in your 360 videos. I'm going to be making a separate video going over this accessory, how to use it. We'll be testing it out. So that is basically it for this video. As mentioned, just a first impression style video. I will be making more thorough follow-up videos in the near future. Now, some people might be wondering if it is worth the upgrade. If you buy the whole complete kit, you're looking at around the $800 mark. If you own the Insta360 One R or One RS and you're just buying the upgrade kit, you're looking at about $650, so you will be saving a little bit of money. But I would just have to say, if you are a person who films in 360 a lot, if this is the primary camera that you use, if you enjoy filming in 360, perhaps you even do some commercial work with it, virtual tours and things like that, definitely it is worth the upgrade because you're getting almost a prosumer camera for a lot less than some of the other competitors on the market. Now, on the other hand, if you're a person who just casually films in 360, once in a while, you're not doing it all the time, then maybe you're better just to stick with the 360 camera that comes with the One RS if you got the Twin Edition, because for the most part, it does a decent job. There's no sense upgrading for something you're just going to use once in a while. That's basically it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it and got some value out of it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. It's always greatly appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And we'll see you in the next one.